Welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, October 25th, 2023. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. Locals and visitors will be given the opportunity to view a range of products and services available here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which will be on display at the 3-day Everything Vincy Expo Plus, which starts from tomorrow, Thursday, October 26 to Sunday, October 29, 2023, at the northern side of the decommissioned E.T. Joshua Airport tarmac at Annesville. In an interview with SVG-TV News, Executive Director of Invest SVG, Glenn Beach, gave an overview of the 2023 edition of the Everything Vincy Expo Plus showcase, which would include arts and craft, fashion, floral, agricultural produce, and other products and services made and offered locally.
It's diverse in terms of what it has to offer. A lot of different participants will be there. Vinlec, who, as I said, they come and sometimes get a rough name from the public. But I think people need to understand what Vinlec does and how they operate and the expenses and so on that they have, and they're a big sponsor in this. So you have organizations like that, National Properties, who the tarmac belongs to. They're a big sponsor. Producers of soap and different things, seasoning, those sort of things. And so it will be very extensive in terms of flowers, art, in terms of what Vincentians are making. And the plus side to it is we have a group of over 30 people coming in from Guyana. They'll be bringing in mattresses, different types of seasoning. We're sorry that the house, because we boasted about it, the houses that were supposed to come, but they could not do it. Could not make it after all. But we will have people here that you can speak about those houses. The electronic bikes weren't able to make it either, but we'll have people here who can speak to speak on that also. So we're very happy about that. We have some people from Trinidad manufacturers. They're coming in. They're not taking part, but they're here to see what the expo is about, so that they can have a contingent here next year.
Beat said the Everything Vincy Expo Plus 2023 will be diverse in what is being offered, noted that the showcase is a great opportunity for Vincentians to observe what other Vincentians produce and to observe how regional competitors package their produce, while pointed out that some locally produced goods are just as good as those that are being imported.
I think it's a good opportunity for the buyers to really come in, see where they can get some business, what they can buy here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I spoke about Guyana earlier. One of the things they're going to be bringing in is seasoning. So some people might say, yeah, but we have seasoning here. We do, but it's good to see the competition that you're up against, how it's packaged, how it's produced. So it is an eye-opener in a lot of sense, but it is more than anything, I think it is a great place for us as Vincentians to see what we can produce. It has become a very important part of our independence celebrations, and I think it is a way for us to celebrate how far we've come from since independence, all the things that we do and manufacture and produce here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and some of the creativity that our own Vincentian people have to offer. I mean, you have people like Dinks Johnson here, who's been one of our best painters.
While speaking on investment opportunities within the hospitality and tourism industry, the Invest SVG Executive Director said people should not get carried away with just tourism and should look beyond the international arena. He also praised the efforts of Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves in attracting investment opportunities for St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Yes, tourism is big, especially with AIA being on stream now. We have Sandals coming on, Marriott Holiday Inn, but we also have Marriott Hotel coming on stream. We have Royal Mill, which one of the major investors is a Vincentian. And I use that as a segue to say that a big part of investment is your local investment. And so we have to be mindful of local investment that we can have. We have to be mindful of regional investment and, of course, international investment. I think a lot of times when we look at manufacturing and production, we're so focused and we're so caught up on the international aspect that we fail to realize how important the regional market is for us, and our export strategy has to be developed and make sure that has become a very important part of the strategy. So yes, tourism plays a major part, and we'll continue to look at tourism, and we'll probably have some other announcements to make in tourism sooner rather than later. And we have a Prime Minister who's known far and wide, who is basically the face of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So that makes the job a bit easier in terms of looking for that investment. But our export strategy has to encompass everything, and so it's not just a matter of the tourism. It's a matter of agriculture, which still will always be a big part of what St. Vincent and the Grenadines has to offer out there. A lot of times, you know, with AIA coming on stream and the direct flights from Canada and the US and the UK, people keep on talking about, yeah, when are we going to get the stuff in there? But a lot of times, closer to home is probably more profitable and easier to deal with. So while I'm not saying no to the international aspect, I'm just saying that we have to make sure we look at everything and not just so focused on international that we forget regional and local.
The opening ceremony of the Everything Vincy Expo Plus will take place tomorrow at 10 a.m. Friday, October 27th, will see the staging of the Independence Concert in the form of a musical extravaganza starting at 7 p.m. at the Expo venue at the E.T. Joshua Tarmac. The Expo festivities will culminate on Sunday, October 29th, with an awards ceremony starting at 5 p.m. Tomorrow evening in Sandy Bay, 20 more houses will be handed over to residents whose homes were destroyed or severely damaged during the eruption of Lasso volcano in 2021. The houses were constructed as part of a partnership between the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the Mustique Charitable Trust. On radio today, Prime Minister Dr. Raul Gonzalez said the location where the houses are being developed into a nice community with a clinic to be placed nearby.
But what we are doing there, in the partnership which we have, there's also going to be the house. The family residence of Montgomery Daniel is also going to be purchased for the retrofitting, renovating as a clinic, reconfiguring as a clinic, because that's going to be a big community. And that parcel of land is one which is protected from the Lahars. And you have a school, the primary school is just across, and there's a learning resource center, and there'd be a space for a little playing area. So it's a nice community which is being built up in that side of Sandy Bay. And it will be a short drive from there, short distance from there, to Orange Hill, where we will be building the $10-12 million modern secondary school to replace the one which got damaged in Sofri.
The Prime Minister said he also expects support through the Saudi Fund to help with the government's housing program.
Just over 2 weeks ago, when the Saudi Fund came here, the people from the Saudi Fund, Johnny P. They were taken there to see the houses, but because I want them to see the kind of houses we were building, because we put forward a request for a $13 million soft loan, $13.5 million soft loan from the Saudi Fund for housing. So the housing revolution, they were quite impressed, and I'm confident that the housing revolution will get an injection of money. I received a letter from the Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia to visit Saudi Arabia at some time in the not too distant future. So few from the Caribbean. I don't know how many, but I talk about the visit in a sense, by the way, and I discussed this very project on Sunday on a Zoom call with the head of the fund.
One history, one ecstasy, one destiny. According to historian, author, and lecturer Dr. Adrian Fraser, while St. Vincent and the Grenadines and other countries in the Eastern Caribbean were undergoing the same struggles for independence, it is out of the Black Power movement where the region as a whole was trying to find an identity and obtain something from the existing colonial powers. Dr. Fraser was a panelist on SVG-TV's Viewpoint program last Sunday discussing the topic, how far have we come as a nation, and are Vincentians struggling to find their identity, having left the clutches of the colonial master.
And it is out of this Black Power movement where the region as a whole was trying to find an identity and trying to get something away from the colonial, what existed. And so this went on from the Black Power movement into independence. That was the next logical step. So it was the Black Power movement that created that kind of atmosphere that got a lot of young people involved. And at that time, you had the National Youth Council, and they played a very, very important role at that time, which was very good because here were people who were not members of a political party, but who felt that the country needed to move on in particular ways, and they played a very important. For instance, Chateaubriand, they're the ones who really started and got the obelisk at so they played an important part in getting the country moving, and we really have to pay a lot of respect to the youth at that time.
Dr. Fraser also noted that when the issue of the Constitution and the movement towards independence came about, the unions at the time formed the National Independence Committee, which met and came up with ideas of what they felt should be included in the Constitution, which he said were largely neglected, as what they were trying to do is go along a different path. However, those in power went ahead with the Westminster model, and a golden opportunity for change was lost.
Because what the National Independence Committee did was to try to sensitize people and let them know what we are going into. And so that aspect of it, I think, if it was allowed to continue, would have been very, very important. But we, as in a number of the other countries in the Caribbean, simply went along. And I know Kenneth John used to point out that when they went to England, some of the other countries, including Jamaica and so on, and they were discussing the Constitution, what the British used to do, they have them in this room, and they used to, during the winter, and they used to open the windows and put a lot of pressure on them simply to accept what Britain gave. And there are a lot written by some of those people in the region, Lloyd Best and so on, about what was happening. So it was quite a number of things going on. Obviously, we were not going to buck that because we came in at a late stage. Jamaica, Trinidad, and these other countries, Barbados, had gone on before. But so we missed that thinking about independence. And as I have written before, what our biggest problem was that during the discussions, what we were saying is that once we become independent, we could become a member of the United Nations, and we would be able to get more aid. And I've written on it around that time. I was saying that the whole idea is not to get more aid, but to develop in the period that there are certain responsibilities, there are certain challenges, and we need to take that kind of approach. So that is where, I think a lot of things broke down in terms of what I know members of the National Independence Committee were expecting. That kind of discussion did not really take place.
In terms of present day, student of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College, Leah Kamabach, said the younger generation lacks interest in pursuing legal, historical and political studies, which can be attributed to the failures of the previous generations and the advancements in technology.
Don't find a lot of young people that are into those areas. I think the main reason why it kind of died down is because from my generation, speaking, me personally, I've always felt connected to my culture. I always loved learning about the indigenous people, the Caribbean, the Garifuna, etc. But there's not a lot of younger people who are into those kind of things. So they're not as connected to the culture. Like they don't feel as connected to Joseph Chateaubriand as, let's say, Jamaicans feel connected to Nani or the other national heroes. So there's not like a sense of fight within them. There is when it comes to empowering black people. Like you can see a rise in that in my generation, but the connection.
At the National Independence Church service held last Sunday at the Kingston Baptist Church, President of the Association of Evangelical Churches of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Reynold Murray, told the gathering that until we as a people are ready to give up the things that are holding us back from walking with God, we will forever have problems as a people and nation.
The issues we have in our nation, the violence, the hatred, the dislikes, we have to put those things away in order to walk with God. And could I say, if we in here today, purpose in our hearts to walk with God like Moses did, we can make a lot of change in our nation. If all the people listening to me on television or radio or wherever they are, just practice what God says, this nation will change. But we're not interested in that. We're interested in calling people names and tagging them with colors and you know, all kinds of isms. What does God require of us? That we do justice.
Dr. Murray said division is also impeding God's ability to do his work in the country.
We wish that God will let this nation be such that the waters of this nation fail not, that the food continue to produce, the land continue to produce abundantly, but our wickedness is standing in the way of God being able to pour out what he wants to do in our nation. We are so divided when God is saying, come together as one. Jesus said, I pray, Father, that there be one, even as you and I are one. If we're going to walk with God, we have to now consider some oneness. I want to pray for us today that the Lord enable us to do what he has required of us, to do justice, to love justice, to do mercy, and to walk humbly before God. So I pray today that even as we come here, that this will not just be a ritualistic gathering. It will not just be an event associated with independence, 44th anniversary of independence, but will be really a searching of the heart to understand the purpose that God has for us.
And Father Ashton Matthews Francis of the Calico Anglican Church said the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines are very resilient. However, they need to have a closer connection with God. Father Francis was at the time addressing the Calico Anglican School Independence celebrations today.
We can think of other man-made disasters and stuff like that, and how as a people we are able to recover bigger, better, stronger, and that's what resilience speaks of. But in order for us to really be resilient, we must be connected with God. Because it is in him we live and move and have our being. We must have faith in God, knowing fully well that never mind the circumstances, never mind the situation that we are in, with God all things are possible.
According to Father Francis, in order for the people to move on to the country's 45th independence anniversary, they have to care more for themselves and others.
In order for us to move on to 45th and continue going on and on and on as a nation, we have to care for ourselves, we have to care for one another, and we have to care for God's creation. And so we have to take care of all that God has created. That is my message. Simple message to you. Take care of yourselves and of your loved ones.
At today's event, the students of the Calico Anglican School presented different items as they commemorate SVG's independence, 44th independence anniversary.
Let's fire it up, boys, men and you, boys,
The St. Vincent's Grammar School, represented by Christian Joseph, last evening emerged the winner of the 2023 Lions Club Flow National Secondary School Public Speaking Competition held at the Methodist Church Hall. Joseph won the student-prepared speech and the main speech, which was done on the topic "Unless criminals' proximity to power is reduced, their ill-gotten gains confiscated, and a culture of lawlessness fostered, the level of crime will remain at unacceptable levels."
Chairperson, I humbly submit that the matter of establishing and sustaining a culture of lawfulness rests in large part with the government. However, it is important to highlight that this responsibility is a shared one, as the government cannot do it alone. Quite apart from the fact that we, the citizens, play important roles as witnesses and jurors, the family is the foundation of society, and more than any other force, it shapes the values of a child. According to the International Federation for Family Development, those who build stable families have lower risk of mental illness, alcoholism, and domestic violence. There's also a reduced rate of drug addiction and lower incidences of criminal activities. I want to echo the words of Calypsonian Iper when he said, "Society is in trouble anytime the family fails. The backbone of any nation rests in the foundation of the family." Ladies and gentlemen, I conclude by endorsing the sentiments expressed by our Prime Minister at the recently held CARICOM Regional Symposium. And I quote, "Addressing crime calls for a re-engineering of the family, church, media, communities, business, and the state." End of quote. I appeal to all stakeholders involved. This island is ours. If we are serious about reducing the level of crime within our country or region, it is critical for us to reduce what appears to be the criminals' proximity to power. Let us confiscate their proceeds of crime. Let us foster a culture of lawfulness. Then, and only then, will the words penned by Phyllis Punnett in our national anthem have real meaning. May peace reign from shore to shore, and God bless and keep us true.
Second place in the competition was awarded to Janelle Stowe of the St. Vincent's Girls High School, and third place Rihanna Ross of the Mountain View Adventist Academy.
Can you imagine a child growing up with the belief that once you have money and or political connections, you are untouchable? Sadly, this is the mindset of many Vincentians today. German sociologist Max Weber defined power as the chance that an individual in a social relationship can achieve his or her own will, even against the resistance of others. Simply put, that person is untouchable. In SVG, we see instances where power has led to the protection of those with ill-gotten gains, and many of our youths, especially our young men, are attracted to both the power and the gains.
When individuals with criminal intent or connections to criminal organizations appear to be protected by power and are therefore immune to prosecution and due process, it undermines the very foundation of our legal system. It erodes trust in our institutions and can lead to corruption at all levels of government. Therefore, reducing criminal proximity to power is essential for the preservation of justice and the rule of law.
The Best Impromptu Speech Award went to Soren Phillips of the Thomas Sanders Secondary School.
My hero. Well, we should start with a definition, shouldn't we? So we're all on the same page. A hero is someone that you may look up to, whether it be maybe a friend, a family member, or even a stranger that you walked past on the street yesterday. But for me, I would have to say that my hero will be my dad. And although it sounds very cliche, I have many things to thank him for, such as being a great role model. He also gave me my attributes, such as my height, my looks, and even I looked just like him when he was small, so you know how that is. No, I am fortunate for my dad to be my hero specifically, because I understand that this may not be the case for everyone, and I empathize with those persons. But I would hope that they would be able to find their own hero, someone similar that they can look up to and take positive aspects of. Another thing I can speak about is that it's good to choose the right hero, because it is easy to choose the wrong person and believe they're doing the right thing, even though everyone can see that they're doing the wrong thing. But just be wary of who you choose to be a hero and everything in between. Now, one more thing I must say before I go is that if you do not have a hero, I really believe that you should look and see the positive things you can take from people that may be around you. Whether it may be, as I said, a family member, a teacher, your parents even, and try to emphasize it and make it 10 times fold. And with all that being said, good night.
And Member of Parliament for East Kingston, Fitzgerald Bramble, congratulated the finalists and commended them for their presentations during the competition.
Let me first of all say to you, 6 future stars of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you guys were awesome. Awesome. And that is not an opportunistic platitude. That is sincere. You were really, truly awesome. I hope that some of you would become our parliamentary colleagues very soon. In fact, I think if some of our parliamentarians were here, we could have learned a thing or two from you, believe you me. So, speaking is something that it's a natural function. Yeah, but if you're able to speak effectively, you can influence lives and influence nations. I had the opportunity to do that throughout my entire life, from a kid right up to my present situation. I was a deputy ambassador for St. Vincent in the USA. So I had to speak. I had to be able to speak and represent. I was a university lecturer in Canada, so I had to be able to speak. Even when I played football for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I was the goalkeeper. So I was like the coach on the field. I had to be able to speak. And I thank God for blessing me with a little bit of ability when it comes to speaking in public. And I would like to encourage all of you to continue to develop your craft as speakers. Believe you me, it will go a very long way in helping you to emerge and to develop into your full potential as future leaders.
In addition to the winning prizes, the St. Vincent Grammar School representative received the Challenge Trophy and the opportunity to present a proposal for funding of a school project in the amount of $3,000 EC. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prison Service is hosting a 2-day independence exhibition which commenced today outside His Majesty's Prison in capital Kingston under the theme, "With Humility Together We Can Rise, One Part, One Vision." The exhibition seeks to showcase the inspiring artwork created by inmates at Her Majesty's prisons, both in Kingston and at Belial. The items being displayed at the exhibition including furniture, grills, crafts, grass mats, baskets and farm produce. In an interview with SVG-TV News, Administrative Officer at His Majesty's Prisons, Roxanne Campbell, said skills training is part of the rehabilitation process of the inmates.
Here you can see we have a variety of items: coal pots, towel holders, bar stools, center table, and also from our Belial Correctional Facility we have agricultural products and talented art crafts, and also we have tie-dye equipment and clothing on display. We also have food available for sale today and tomorrow, because the exhibition will be for today and tomorrow. We have available to the public where you can come, have a view of the items and place your order, and we take the relevant information and have it done for you in the features or custom-made however that you like.
Urging persons to support the prison's exhibition, Campbell noted that as a result of the skills acquired while incarcerated, several inmates upon leaving the prisons have been accepted into specific institutions for work.
As you can see, we have beds and we have different price ranges depending on what you like. And also we wish everyone to come out and support our activity for the 2 days. Come and support our inmates, come and support His Majesty's Prison and the staff as part of our nation building process for this independence. We have inmates that have been released and we have inmates that have even been acceptable to certain institutions because they have the acquired skill that they require, such as welding and carpentry, and some even went on further to do like training other persons in that particular area.